scary Peppa Pig episode that never made it on TV. It was a perfectly ordinary Tuesday morning when Peppa and George woke up to find their house completely silent. No sounds of Mummy Pig cooking breakfast. No cheerful humming from Daddy Pig reading his newspaper. The yellow walls seemed darker somehow, and the familiar purple sofa looked almost black in the strange dim light. Peppa called out for her parents, but her voice echoed strangely through the empty rooms. George clutched his dinosaur toy tighter, but even Mr. Dinosaur felt cold and lifeless in his small hands. As they walked through the house, their footsteps made hollow sounds on the green carpet. The kitchen was exactly as they remembered it, except for one disturbing detail. All the family photos on the walls showed empty frames. Where their smiling faces should have been, there was only blank white space, as if they had never existed at all. The refrigerator hummed with an unsettling low frequency. When they tried to leave the house, the front door wouldn't budge. The handle turned, but the door remained sealed shut. The windows showed only swirling gray mist outside, no sign of their familiar neighborhood. They were trapped in a house that looked like home but felt like a prison. As the day wore on, strange things began happening. The television turned on by itself, showing only static with occasional glimpses of shadowy figures that looked almost like their missing family members. The telephone rang constantly, but when they answered, they heard only their own voices calling for help from somewhere far away. The toys in their playroom started moving on their own. Teddy bears turned their heads to watch the children pass, and toy cars rolled across the floor in perfect circles, never stopping. George's beloved dinosaur collection arranged themselves in threatening formations, their plastic eyes seeming to follow every movement. By evening, the house had grown colder. Their breath came out in small white puffs, and frost began forming on the windows. The familiar yellow walls started changing color, shifting to sickly greens and purples. The cheerful furniture became twisted and wrong, chairs with too many legs and tables that bent in impossible directions. When night fell, they heard footsteps upstairs. Slow, deliberate steps that sounded exactly like Mummy and Daddy Pig walking around their bedroom. But when they climbed the stairs to investigate, they found the room empty except for two perfect outlines on the bed, as if their parents had simply vanished into thin air. The final horror came at midnight when they looked in the bathroom mirror and saw not their own reflections, but the faces of their missing family members staring back with hollow, empty eyes. The reflections moved independently, mouthing words they couldn't hear, reaching out from behind the glass as if trying to escape from some terrible place where they had been trapped forever. It's a lovely sunny morning, and Peppa Pig is playing in the garden with her little brother George. George, look, there's something strange behind Grandpa Pig's old shed. I've never noticed that path before. Dinosaur path. The path was covered with the most beautiful flowers they had ever seen. Purple, pink, and golden petals seemed to shimmer in the sunlight. Wow, these flowers are so pretty and sparkly. Where path go, Peppa? I don't know, George. Should we follow it and see where it leads? It looks like an adventure. So Peppa and George decided to follow the mysterious flower path. As they walked, they heard the most wonderful tinkling sounds, like tiny bells in the wind. Listen, George, the flowers are making music. How extraordinary. Magic flowers. Ding ding. The path led them to a secret garden they had never seen before. In the center stood the most magnificent tree, with leaves that changed colors like a rainbow. Oh my, look at that amazing tree. George, the leaves are red, then blue, then green. How does it do that? Rainbow tree, pretty. Suddenly, they heard a gentle voice coming from the tree. But it wasn't scary at all, it sounded kind and friendly. Welcome, little visitors, to the Garden of Wonders. Did that tree just talk to us, George? Talking tree. Hello, tree. Hello, George. Hello, Peppa. I've been waiting for curious children like you to find this special place. This garden is full of wonderful surprises. Would you like to see some magic? Yes, please. We love surprises, don't we, George? Magic. Magic. The tree waved its branches, and suddenly butterflies made of pure light began to dance around Peppa and George. They're so beautiful, and they feel warm and tickly. Butterfly friends, Giggle, giggle. These are the guardian butterflies. They protect all the wonderful things in this garden and make sure everything stays happy and safe. Next, the tree showed them flowers that could sing lullabies and grass that felt as soft as clouds under their feet. This is the most wonderful place ever. Can we come back and visit again? Of course. But remember, this garden is our secret. Only kind hearts can find the path. Secret garden. Our secret. That's right, George. And because you've been such good visitors, I have a special gift for you both. The tree gave each of them a small, glowing acorn that would always remind them of their magical adventure. Thank you, tree. This is the best present ever. Glowy acorn. Thank you. Keep them safe, and they'll always bring you happy dreams. As the afternoon sun began to set, it was time for Peppa and George to return home. Come back soon, my friends. The garden will always be here for you. They followed the flower path back home, and with each step, the magical sounds grew softer, like a gentle lullaby. What an amazing adventure, George. Do you think Mummy and Daddy will believe us? Show acorn. Proof. When they reached home, Mummy Pig and Daddy Pig were waiting for them. There you are. We were wondering where you'd gone. Did you have a nice time playing? We found the most wonderful secret garden. Look at our special acorns. My word, those are very special acorns indeed. They seem to be glowing. That night, Peppa and George placed their magical acorns by their beds, and they had the most wonderful dreams about their new friend, the rainbow tree, and all the magical adventures still waiting for them in the secret garden. In the quiet, cozy world of Peppa Pig, where every day is filled with laughter and games, sometimes night falls, but not an ordinary night, but one that brings with it shadows and whispers that make even the bravest piglets hide under the covers. Tonight was just such a night. The air was heavy, and the stars seemed to twinkle with unusual anxiety. Peppa couldn't sleep. Every rustle outside the window, every creak of the old house seemed like an ominous premonition. She tried to convince herself that it was just the wind, but her little heart beat faster and faster. George, usually so calm, was also restless tonight. His beloved Dino lay on the floor, forgotten in the darkness. Suddenly, a shadow flickered outside the window. It was too tall, too thin to be just a tree. Peppa held her breath, her eyes wide with horror. She wanted to scream, but her voice caught in her throat. What was it? And why did it move so silently? Fear gripped her, but instinct told her she needed to protect George. She slowly slid off the bed, every muscle in her body tensed. She wanted to wake her brother, but then a quiet, scratching sound came from behind the door. It sounded like claws scraping wood. The sound was getting closer. The doorknob slowly, almost imperceptibly, began to turn down. Peppa's heart stopped. A thin, ominous strip of red light seeped from under the door, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. It wasn't a flashlight, it was something else, something alien and frightening. Peppa, trembling with fear, hid under the bed. She pressed herself against the cold wall, trying to make herself as small as possible. The red light under the door pulsed as if alive. George seemed to feel something in his sleep. His breathing became uneven, and his little hands clenched into fists. The door creaked open. The corridor was plunged into pitch darkness, but in it burned two red eyes. They were like embers glowing in the night. The creature to whom they belonged was invisible, but its presence was palpable, heavy, oppressive. The air in the room grew colder. The red eyes slowly glided around the room, exploring every corner. Peppa, holding her breath, prayed that she wouldn't be noticed. One of the eyes stopped directly above George's bed. The creature seemed to be studying the sleeping piglet, and this was the most terrifying moment for Peppa. George slowly opened his eyes. His gaze fell upon two red lights hanging directly above him. The little piglet let out a piercing scream, filled with pure horror. His cry echoed through the room, breaking the dead silence of the night. George's scream awakened something more than fear in Peppa. It was determination. She sprang from under the bed, her little legs carrying her to her brother. The red eyes seemed to retreat, disappearing into the shadows, but their presence was still felt. Peppa hugged George tightly, trying to calm his trembling body. The door was closed, the red light was gone. An ominous silence fell over the room. Peppa Pig episode, The Mysterious Sounds. Duration, 3 minutes 10 seconds, 190 seconds. 25 frames, 7.6 seconds per frame. Script with frame timing. Frame 1 midnight to 007. Narrator. It's a lovely autumn evening at Peppa's house. The family is getting ready for bed. Frame 2, 008 to 015. Peppa. Mummy, what was that strange sound I heard earlier in the garden? Frame 3, 016 to 023. Mummy Pig. Oh Peppa, it was probably just the wind blowing through the trees. Nothing to worry about, little one. Frame 4, 024 to 031. Daddy Pig. Yes, autumn nights can be quite noisy with all the leaves rustling about. Time for bed now. Frame 5, 032 to 039. Narrator. But as the family settles down for the night, Peppa hears the mysterious sound again from her bedroom window. Frame 6, 040 to 047. Peppa, George, did you hear that? It sounded like footsteps in our garden. Frame 7, 048 to 055. George, dinosaur? Grr. Frame 8, 056 to 103. Peppa, no George, not a dinosaur. Something else. Let's look out the window very quietly. Frame 9, 104 to 111. Narrator. Peppa and George peek through the curtains. The garden looks different in the moonlight, full of mysterious shadows. Frame 10, 112 to 119. Peppa. Look George, there's something moving by the apple tree. What could it be? Frame 11, 120 to 127. Narrator. The children see a dark shape moving slowly across the garden. It seems to be searching for something. Frame 12, 128 to 135. George. Peppa. Scared. Frame 13, 136 to 143. Peppa. Don't worry, George. We're brave. Let's wake up Mummy and Daddy to solve this mystery together. Frame 14, 144 to 151. Narrator. The children tiptoe to their parents' room. Mummy and Daddy Pig are fast asleep and snoring loudly. Frame 15, 152 to 159. Peppa, Mummy, Daddy, there's something mysterious in our garden. Frame 16, 2 to 207. Daddy Pig. What's that, Peppa? A mystery? How exciting. Frame 17, 208 to 215. Mummy Pig. Let's all go downstairs together and take a look, but we must be very quiet. Frame 18, 216 to 223. Narrator. The whole family creeps downstairs and peers out through the kitchen window into the moonlit garden. Frame 19, 224 to 231. Daddy Pig. Well, I never. Look there by the vegetable patch. Frame 20, 232 to 239. Narrator. There in the garden, they see Mrs. Rabbit with a flashlight, carefully digging around the carrot patch. Frame 21, 240 to 247. Mummy Pig. Oh my, it's Mrs. Rabbit. But what is she doing in our garden so late at night? Frame 22, 248 to 255. Narrator. Daddy Pig opens the back door and calls out softly to their neighbor. Frame 23, 256 to 303. Daddy Pig. Mrs. Rabbit? Is everything all right? We heard some mysterious sounds. Frame 24, 304 to 311. Verse. Rabbit. Oh, hello. I'm so sorry for the disturbance. I was looking for my lost house keys. I dropped them somewhere in your garden this afternoon when I was visiting. Frame 25, 312 to 319. Narrator. And so the mysterious nighttime visitor turned out to be their friendly neighbor Mrs. Rabbit, simply looking for her lost keys. The mystery was solved, and everyone could sleep peacefully. The end. Peppa. What a funny mystery. Good night, everyone. All, good night.